Crafty Babes, it's Andrea, and we're here to chat about all the ways we live our craftiest lives.
And I'm Alyssa, and we're here to inspire you to craft in a way that works for you.
Yeah. Hi.
Hey. Here we are in episode 12.
I love it. We're going to do some crafty updates today, and I'm kind of excited about all the things we're going to talk about today.
I know. It's always fun to just chat about what we're doing crafty-wise.
Yeah, because I feel like it changes really often.
Mostly for you.
I feel like that. I feel like I move around from project to project pretty often.
Totally.
But there are always things that stay consistent. But then there's stuff that comes and goes.
Yeah, you try a lot of different new things, which is fun.
Yeah, I do try. Like, this would be a good opportunity to talk about how I have completely gone off the wagon with the 100-Day Project. So that is, I don't think it's coming back anytime soon. I think that wagon has sailed. Or maybe the ship
the wagon
has sailed.
sailed.
The wagon sailed. I don't know.
That's great.
It has gotten away from me.
It didn't work.
So, it didn't work.
Have you ever done a 100-day project?
No, I've never even tried. And the reason is because I know this about myself.
Yep.
And I knew going into it that I was only going to be able to get so many days out of it. And I had fun while I was doing it, but I knew I wouldn't even get a month in.
Totally.
Yeah, just that's hard.
Yeah.
And it's not really something I don't need to practice being creative every day.
Yeah.
So for me, I had a lot of fun making that junk journal and doing listing, which included just kind of like random little everyday things. There was not everyday things, but like specific things for that day.
Yep.
And it was fun. It was fun to just kind of put a hodgepodge thing together.
Totally.
Yeah.
Are you still doing the 100 Days of Bible Promises, or did you kind of not make it very far through that either?
I didn't make it very far. But what I love about that is that I can go back to it anytime and use those as jumping off points for, faith stories and the way that, God is speaking in certain parts of my life. I really am going to use it as more of a randomish devotional because I feel like it's got everything that you need out of a devotional in it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been liking about it is that it kind of has a lot of material there. And sometimes I'll go into a couple other different things, like if it's about trusting God or something. Sometimes I'll just like go to Bible Gateway on my phone or something, type in trust and kind of pull in some other topics or dig in a little deeper on some other topics. Or, I know if I wait kind of a couple days, I'll see kind of something else about trust in there. And so it definitely doesn't exhaustively cover trust on one page and then that's it, and you never touch it again. So it's been kind of nice that it almost like dips your toes in the water of a certain topic. And then it's like, you already know a lot of the pages are really illustrated already, and so I feel like I can use it for whatever I want to. I can either cover the entire page if I want to try every single technique and medium I have, or I can do like one little grouping and keep it super simple. Or if I have more to say, I can leave more journaling space. And but because there's already so much there, and I feel like Illustrated Faith has done a really good job of providing a lot of printables and different things that kind of coordinate, I just like go through this little bin I have and grab some things I think that fit. Or like the other day, it was about faith the size of a mustard seed and how it can move mountains. And so I went back and I was like, Elaine's mountains. And so I went back and grabbed some of her mountains from Revival Camp last year and the year before or whatever, and made a little row of mountains. And so it was kind of nice for using up some of that old stuff. But otherwise, I don't think I would be super successful at a 100-day project if it was very long, because I don't get to it every day. Sometimes it's every third day, but then it's relatively easy for me to kind of catch up.
Yeah, and I think where I got stuck with mine was that I was asking myself to recall things that happened several days ago. And that was what became very tough for me. And even though I tried to make little notes on sticky notes to at the end of each day, it just didn't work.
Yep.
You know, I was asking too much of myself. I'm spent by the end of the day. I'm mentally done, and it's really hard for me to recall. I would have to go back through my photos. I was trying to put receipts aside so that I could remember, oh, today I went to Trader Joe's. Today I did and it became too much. And I was like, wow, okay, tell me again why I'm doing this.
Yeah.
And it almost felt like I was duplicating the work because I'm going to go document those things in my family album or my personal album.
Sure.
So, I think if I were to go back to it, I would not do a list. I would just create fun pages.
Yeah.
And just use girls, use the Beloved Society girls, use the honeys from the Reset Girl, use like little, God words of, different faith words, things from Illustrated Faith, just about, feelings and stuff like that. Like I could still make it a faith related because it was daily listing. Plus it was like how I was feeling about what God was telling me, like a word or a phrase. Mm-hmm. And I was like really trying to combine all those things together, and it got really complicated.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I just, it was a lot.
Too many things for one small day's project.
Exactly. But I do not beat myself up over it. I have no guilt about it. I'm not beholden to anybody that I have to complete it.
Yep.
There are lots of other projects that I can say, hooray, I've completed. I've completed every single week in the life, day in the life, December daily that I've ever started. So I feel pretty good about large projects that I can complete.
Oh, yeah.
I don't want this one kind of hanging over my head and being like, you never finished that. So that's me just giving myself some grace about
Absolutely.
it. Yep.
I think that's a good mindset.
Yeah, but speaking of mini albums, I have started the last couple of weeks for the hashtag Thursday 3 that Kristen Tweedale of Crafty Ass Females podcast, the hashtag that she started. I am not only doing one for myself, but I'm doing one for Marshall.
Fun.
And I love it, and he loves it. And sometimes he'll help me with the list, and other times I'll just make the list because it's the things about him that's relevant right now. I want to make a Traveler's Notebook Traveler's Notebook ringed Traveler's Notebook album for him with the picture that I use and the list. And I think maybe he could even make the page.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, he likes to want to be crafty with me,
sure,
but he doesn't really have the patience.
Sure.
So I don't want to force him to do that. But if he would want to sit down with me, I could give him the photo and give him the list.
Some papers or something or...
Yeah.
That would be super really fun. I like that idea because sometimes I even think in my personal or in my family album... Oh, sorry, I had a big yawn. Skip that part.
You're allowed to do that.
I was going to have coffee this evening because I usually have coffee when we record, but I want to not be up super late because we have some boys coming over tomorrow that we're watching, and I need to go to do our grocery pickup before they come over. So I need to be leaving the house at 8 o'clock, which is not like that big of a deal or anything, but we've been doing a lot of, like, we haven't been leaving the house until 10 or 11 or something because we just don't have a reason to. So if we go anywhere, it's a little bit later. And so to get everybody up and at 'em is just... I was thinking I needed to go to bed earlier so that I would wake up earlier. And long story short, didn't have coffee, therefore the yawning. Anyway.
You love that idea.
I love that idea because in my family album, sometimes especially if the weeks have similar photos or we didn't do anything remarkable, I'm like, what exactly do I say about the kids? And so I like kind of doing I could include that in one of the pockets of my week. Just have Ellie's Thursday 3 and Jonah's Thursday 3 or something. And
I know. You totally could.
I think that's a super cool idea.
Yeah, I'm excited about that. And he loves reading the comments. And
Cute.
one of the comments, someone said he's too cool for school. And he's like, I'm kind of offended. I love school. I never want to be too cool for school. I was like, dude,
Honey,
it's just an expression. Yeah, and he's like,
oh my gosh.
Okay, I get it. I really get it. But can you just please tell her that I really like school?
Oh, so you gotta tell her. Gotta say I really like school.
I really like school. I don't ever want to be too cool for learning. I'm like, oh my gosh.
He's so cute. I saw this kid when we went to go see a movie the other night that I was like, that looks just like Marshall. And
really?
I was going to take a picture of him, but it was in the middle of the movie because he was walking across, like right across the screen. So it probably looked nothing like him in all actuality.
Maybe. Yeah. The silhouette though, huh?
Yeah, just something about him looked like Marshall. I don't know what it was. What else are you doing?
I was going to ask you, you've still got your family album going, right?
Oh, yeah. I leave it open. I have like an L-shaped desk, and I leave it open on the side of my desk. And then whenever I have the chance, while we're doing school or if I'm walking by or whatever, sometimes I'll just pop over and like write something and then keep on going. Or sometimes I like do one card and then I keep on going. Or sometimes I have the opportunity to do more or whatever.
That's pretty cool. I like that you can keep it out.
It's nice to just have it open on the side of my desk because then where I do more of my working, I kind of go through like having my Bible journaling stuff out, having my traveler's notebooks out, having my personal album out. Those are all smaller. And if I just keep my big 12 by 12 album open on the side, I can kind of take something out of it and turn to the other side and read stuff and then go back. So that's
a good way to keep it always in the front of your mind, like so that it doesn't feel like this project that you have to grab this big huge album and you have to make room for it on your desk. And thankfully you have the space to keep it out, but it's not like you're always in the middle of a Project Life spread where it's kind of the page, the photos and stuff are all out spread around your desk.
No,
you've already done that with the batch process, right? So you're just kind of ticking away at the page in its second stage.
Yeah, and I usually do like we've talked about. I just said like a lot of times. Sorry. I do the batch processing all in one, like as much as I can for as many months as I have photos for or whatever, and then I'll go back to the whatever spread, the first spread that I haven't done or whatever, and I usually try to do journaling first so that I get all the things I want to say out, and then I kind of embellish around that. And so those are like my two secondary steps is journaling and embellishing. So if I just have it out, I can just pull out the card I need, write on it, stick it back in, whatever. And it's relatively easy to kind of do it that way. And then at least I feel like I'm making at least a tiny bit of progress.
Yeah. Now, are you going to do the same process for this year? Because I don't think we've talked about this year. I think
I have not
are
even
obviously taking pictures.
Gotten to this year. Oh yeah. I've been really good about keeping up with editing my photos and exporting them and dating them and just keeping them organized on my computer. And then I've actually printed out. I don't remember how far I've gotten. But I've printed out a good chunk of weeks, and then as I've had time, dated, written the date on the back, put them in the baggies for the week. Mm-hmm. And then I actually just had to buy a 12 by 12 album for this year because I was really, really up in the air about whether or not I was going to do a Project Life album for this year. Not because I didn't want to, but because I feel so behind that I feel like when I get, one, I feel like I'm never going to catch up. Or two, I feel like when I catch up, it's going to be like, here's the week. Look, we went to Target because there's a Target cart. And that's all. And so I don't feel like I'm going to have anything to say. But then I went, okay, one, I've already got quite a few of the photos printed out. So it would be wasteful to not use them. And 2, if I didn't make a Project Life album, I would make a Shutterfly album because that's what I've done in the past. Now, I can't fit my entire what happens in a year into one album. That means I have to make 2 Shutterfly albums, and they're completely full. So that's usually 111 pages per book. And usually I use some coupons to make it and stuff, but it still probably puts it between $75 and $90 or something.
Holy cow.
Per book. Now, granted, if you priced out scrapbook supplies, just don't.
We're just going to ignore that. We're just going to ignore that fact.
Yep.
I'm sure it's 3 times as much.
Oh, yeah. And so really my thought was if I do a Shutterfly album, I don't do any journaling. I do only photos because that's just how I've always done it. I've just put the photos in and they do fine by themselves. So then I went, okay, if I already have these photos printed out and in a Shutterfly album, I wouldn't have any journaling. What's the problem if I do a Project Life album and just put photos and cards in and not do any journaling? Now, I'm not saying I won't do any journaling, but I told myself, okay, I will at least do my batch processing, do my photos, put my cards in, act like I'm making a spread, and if I never get to journaling and embellishments before the year is over, then I don't. Or if all I get to is journaling and no embellishing, okay, then that's cool. And then I can embellish later when those thoughts don't have to be fresh in my head.
Okay.
So that's kind of what I ended up doing. We'll see how that works out. So speaking of family albums, or I guess, Project Life stuff, what are you doing for those?
Yeah, still working on the 6x8 family album, which I really love. I find myself, though, printing still a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
But what I started to do is, how I made the weekly calendar spread, like a planner spread?
Yes.
Where it's vertical and it's got the days of the week that are down, like with lines in it.
Yes.
I really thought that I needed to be using that more for smaller, more insignificant stories, but still things I wanted to say.
Yeah.
But that didn't need a whole page. So I'm printing things that are a little less significant, smaller, so that they fit like memory planning.
Yes.
So I just decided to do that more on this last batch. I printed the last 3 weeks. So like the end of April through Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
And so I'm printing some of the less significant stories smaller so that I can just put it on the day and then write a little, within the week, but I put it on the day that it happened.
Yeah, totally.
And then just make a little blurb about it and kind of be done with that, and then save the more significant stories to have their own page.
Yeah.
Whether it's a pocket or, a 6x8 layout or something like that. So I'm enjoying that. And I do feel like at this moment I'm a little behind, but it's just because I've got a lot of different things going on. And
spoons in the pot.
And then, of course, I just added something else to my list of things I want to do because I just signed up for Rad and Happy's lettering class.
Oh, I know. Her stuff is so cute.
She's amazing and adorable. And I appreciate good letter structure.
Yes.
I mean, I actually consider myself a letterer because I can, I have good penmanship. I can physically use a pencil and create different typography. Mm-hmm. And I've done pieces for people, and I've, lettered my own stuff. And, but I feel like I've gotten myself into some bad habits with my lettering.
Sure.
And I would love to learn how to connect letters better so that they're not as traditionally cursive. Because I feel like I'm really stuck in that traditional cursive kind of world because I never really learned how to hand the letter modern style. And then I want to, like, my brain can't really grasp how people make half of a letter in one stroke.
Oh my gosh.
And then finish the other half of the letter in another
and make
stroke.
it look like one letter.
I know, and my brain cannot grasp that. So I am really excited to start practicing and using her techniques and learning her techniques, because I just got these really cool pens. They are, well, they're all in Japanese, so good luck. I'll link them, but they're a good hard felt tip, but they have a brush. They have a brush tip, but it's small, so you can have a lot more control over it versus like the larger Tombow brush pens.
Yep.
Where, you know, when you're just learning how to create those shapes, the larger pens for me just like freaked me out. I couldn't manage that size of a brush.
Totally.
So, but yeah, I'm excited about that. And then the other thing that has been just all-consuming has been my magazine.
Yeah.
It's been, so it like, as soon as like a week after the spring issue launched, I just was flooded with how I wanted to improve that issue and what I wanted to do for summer. And so at this point, the summer issue is about 56 pages.
Dang.
And the spring issue was 32.
Dang, girl.
And I am giddy with all of the things.
Well, don't put all your ideas in one magazine.
I know.
Gotta save some for next year.
There's plenty more. Plenty more. And I love that it's like kind of an evolution. Like there were a couple of things within the original magazine that I wanted to carry over as being like traditions and things you can expect. Yeah, exactly. And so, but then there's other things that I kind of wanted to make some improvements on. And so they've morphed a little bit.
Yeah.
So, but I'm dreaming ideas. It's so kind of just everything that I'm thinking about right now, which is really fun because that means like my ideas are coming out really fast, and I'm able to get them all down and then kind of settle them into where they belong. But that means that I'm not doing paper crafting solely.
Sure.
Which is good for me. It is, because I really do love graphic design. It is, you know, just it's such a passion of mine, you know, that has been dormant for a little while. I mean, I dabble here and there, like, you know, I made my own logo and I update my website and like stuff like that, you know.
Sure.
But not something like this where I'm responsible for the design of everything.
Yeah.
All of those pages were
designed by you.
Designed and created, with, you know, shapes and things. So
yeah, I don't think when you look at a magazine or a book or a website or anything, I don't think you fully realize how much goes into every line and every dot and it's its own vector and its own whatever, and it's just a lot of things.
It is a lot, and what one of the most rewarding parts is having an idea that comes from just I think I want it to be like this, and then kind of getting into it and kind of playing with the little pieces that I have, like a little puzzle, and figuring out, okay, well, I can put this here and this makes more sense here, and then all of a sudden my brain just like explodes and I'm like, no, it needs to be like this, and then I just like it's like it goes in fast motion, and then I look back and I'm like, whoa, did I just make that?
What just happened?
So that's been super fun. And I get the same high out of paper crafting.
Yeah.
You know, it's the same kind of thing where you start with a blank piece of paper and a thought or an image, right? And then it just kind of snowballs into something, and you end up with just this beautiful creation that you're really proud of. And but what's good about kind of working on the computer a little bit and then working in the paper is that I'm able to fulfill a lot of both of those creative needs. So,
and I think it probably helps you from helps keep you from being too bored or too stagnant in one area by just transferring your format to another style, you know?
Totally think that way, because if I'm working on the magazine and I have some kind of little idea, that will sometimes morph into the things I'm working on in physical product.
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So those are my big things.
Your big things.
Yeah. And I think we both are still enjoying doing ring-bound traveler's notebooks. So that's a thing.
Yeah. I'm excited to get my traveler's notebook kit in from Ellie's studio so that I can, because that's kind of what I decided was going to be like the basis for my album to Mexico. Like I had all these different vacation-y stickers and a stamp or two and ideas in my head. And then when I saw that kit, I was like, that's the glue. That's what is going to pull everything together. And I am so excited to get it. I don't even know what I'm going to do with my life after I get this kit, because I feel like I've been just like waiting. I mean, it's only been like a few days, but yes, it's supposed to be here on Thursday. I'm kind of hoping it'll maybe be here on Wednesday, because it already said it was in Denver today. Oh. So I'm hoping
you're going to get it tomorrow.
Well, it usually, since we're in Peyton, it usually takes one extra day.
Oh.
Because it has to go to Colorado Springs hub, and then it has to go out to the Peyton post office.
Okay.
So it usually takes that extra day, but I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, it's so cute. I love the colors. The colors really, honestly, even though the theme is travel, and there's an airplane and there's a suitcase and stuff like that, I feel like the colors are just very like, beachy.
Yes.
There's like a light mint.
It's like muted summer colors. I don't even know.
There's a navy and it's like oranges and blues and greens, but like slow it down.
I'm so excited.
It's so good.
So once I get that in, I can kind of have like the base of more of my pages and stuff like that. And I'll be able to kind of get cranking on some of those things. And that is what I am, like, that's the thing that I'm really, really excited and looking forward to working on. So.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Well, what else you got going on?
I mean, I kind of talked about my anxiety book. I think I talked about it in a previous episode. I don't remember for sure. But I'm kind of making a book that's got Bible verses, encouragement, like if I've gotten certain texts from friends that have helped with certain words or whatever, quotes, photos, anything. I'm kind of just want to make this like uplifting, encouraging book that when I'm having times of high anxiety, it kind of gives me a place to focus on, and I don't have to go, what do I do, or what do I focus on, or I don't know where to turn in my Bible or whatever. And I'm hoping I can put some of my favorite songs in there, or some of my, like I said, favorite quotes or words of encouragement or different things. And it can just be this
collection.
Yes. And so when you sent me a junk journal kit, I was like, ooh, this will be perfect. Yes. So I've got a whole shelf full of, I've actually got 2 shelves full, I think, of antique books that I actually like to read. Because I'm kind of a nerd like that.
That surprises me like -0.
Like not, yeah. So I am trying to decide which one I am okay sacrificing for the sake of this book. And so I have to kind of decide that, and then I want to get some stuff started on that and just dig in. And it's always like, sometimes the hardest part about a project is just starting it, especially when it's something you haven't done before. And I've never done anything junk journal-y like this before. So I'm excited
the fun part about a junk journal too is that you can start random and it's fun.
Yes.
And it's almost like you have the permission to just start it
Do whatever you want.
With whatever. It doesn't have to be planned out. It doesn't have to have any kind of organization to it.
Yep.
It can just, you can start it out with a doily.
Yeah.
And like, that's how it starts.
Well, and I'm excited too because, you know, especially because like what you've showed in your example is you have the rings in it. And so if I make a page and then I decide I want it to be in the front or in the back, or I want it to be after something or before something, or I want to rearrange the order, I can open up the rings and swap it around. And I like that flexibility without like the pressure of gluing in and then it's like, well, it's done forever.
Right. Yeah. It can be movable and what did I say to you? It can be messy and chaotic, just like our lives.
Yes, something like that. I mean, because that's...
It was very poetic when I texted that to you.
It was very poetic. You're basically a poet.
You know me.
I know.
Me, I'm so good with the words and such.
The words and things.
I love that idea, and I really am excited for you to have that, even if it's not something that's ever completed. But if you have something in there that helps you when you get to that point where you need it, I want you to be able to have it, even if it's just a few things. And even if it turns out that you end up working on it during your high anxiety times, that maybe that brings comfort.
Maybe I have like a page where I scribble or something. You know, who knows?
Like all the feelings go in there.
Yeah. When I love that kind of makes me think of something that Jessica Robbins started doing in her 100 Days of Bible Promises book, where she wrote her prayers or wrote her journaling, but she wrote it all like on top of each other. And so she had like this square section or something, and she just kept, like, she wrote it all, she got to the bottom, and she went back to the top and wrote it on, kept writing on top and kept writing on top and kept writing on top.
Like
so
a
that
brain dump.
Looked like, you wouldn't go back and read it, but like but it just gets it all out on paper, and then you can glue whatever you want on top of it. If you want to say, I'm completely covering this over with God's name, or I'm completely covering this over with a beautiful flower, or maybe you just cover part of it and it's a design element, or, do whatever. But I like that idea of going, you write something down and never have to read it again and have it just be this... you literally wrote it down for the purpose of getting it out, and that's all. It's similar to, writing something down and burning it or throwing it away or whatever. Beautiful. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping to kind of get started on here soon. And I'm excited for kind of something different because, different projects are just always fun, like trying something new. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. And if it does, it's cool and fun. And
and even if it doesn't work out, you've still created something fun.
Oh yeah.
You've still tried to put things in there that are mismatched and different sizes. And that's what I love so much about junk journals in general. It's just the randomness of it. It's like, I'm not super random in a lot of other areas of my life, but being random there just feels total freedom. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah. Well, all right then. Maybe this is where we gonna wrap it up.
I think it is.
I've loved catching up.
Yes, it's always fun to chat about what we're doing and how we're doing it.
Cool. All right. Well, this is it then. We're just gonna say goodbye.
Say goodbye.
we don't really have a cool outro at this time. We'll come up.
Well,
with
we have like thanks for watching or listening, which now is just thanks for listening.
It's just thanks for listening. I guess that's what we're gonna do then. We're keeping all of this in.
Keep it all.
You're gonna hear it all. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.